Good afternoon and welcome to News Hour 3. I'm Michael Abreu, and the news this afternoon. Government of the People's Republic of China to construct West African Tropical Disease Research and Treatment Center at UNTRUE. Chiefdom supervisor of the BUNUMBU Health Center describes lack of electricity as a serious challenge to deliver pregnant women tonight. Vice President Dr. Julde Jallo launches alternative care and child welfare policies, and All People's Congress Party says 2018 governance transition team's report is full of factual errors. All these stories and more in the news this afternoon. I'm Michael Abreu once more. We begin the news with our first story. The government of the People's Republic of China is to construct the West African Tropical Disease Research and Treatment Center at UNTRUE. The disclosure was made during the exchange of letters between the government of Sierra Leone and the People's Republic of China at the Ministry of Health and Sanitation Conference Room at UNTRUE building. The Minister of Finance, Jacob Jusu Safa, signed on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone. Doreen Barry reports.
The West African Tropical Disease Research and Treatment Center, which is to be constructed close to the teaching hospital at UNTRUE, is to detect and control infectious diseases. The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Alpha Wuri, said the exchange of letters for the proposed construction of the West African Tropical Research Center is a show of China's commitment and support to Sierra Leone's health sector. He described the treatment center as a prepared mechanism that will prevent potential infectious diseases that the country might face. He said that within the next 24 months, Sierra Leone will be having a well-equipped research center at UNTRUE.
In the next 24 months, hopefully, we will have a full-fledged research center.
The Chief Medical Officer of the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Ibrahim Makabo, said that Sierra Leone is a signatory to the 2005 Traditional Health Evaluation, which is committed to preventing and detecting outbreaks. He commended the government of China for the support.
Over 100 residents in MARAMPA Chiefdom and its immediate environs have benefited from free diagnostic tests by KIC Chronic Kidney Disease in collaboration with the St. John of God Catholic Hospital, popularly known as the Mabesene Hospital in Lonsar. The KIC Chronic Kidney Disease is a UK-based charity organization that is raising awareness on kidney disease and what can be done to prevent it to an advanced stage. Joseph Stanley reports.
Several checkups or diagnostic tests, including blood, sugar, urine, weight and height tests were done, and any disease detected were advised on what to do and later refer to hospital for treatment. According to the medical director of KIC Chronic Kidney Disease, Dr. Ahmed KAMARA, they are in the country to promote the awareness about kidney disease and how can it be prevented to an advanced stage. He added that over the past years, they have been providing free diagnostic tests to Sierra Leoneans residing in the United Kingdom to improve their education on kidney disease as well as preventive measures. He said as a result of services provided to Sierra Leoneans in London, they thought it fit to replicate it to the needy in Sierra Leone, as the cost of these tests are very expensive. The medical director says they were expecting to test about 40 people, but due to the high turnout, they tested over 100 people, including pregnant women.
We aimed to see 40 to 50 patients. It's been a challenge, and we've actually seen about 100 patients, or members of the public, should I say, today. Well, the message is simple. One is don't forget about your health. Don't leave your health until you've developed symptoms that necessitate having to be rushed into hospital as a matter of urgency. And that's the whole purpose of today, checking people's blood pressure, checking their blood sugar, checking their urine, so that we can pick up signs that of illnesses such as hypertension and diabetes, things that can lead towards chronic kidney disease.
He said during the process, several diseases were detected and those affected were advised on what to do and later referred to hospital for further medical advice and treatment. As a charity organization, he appealed for support as they plan to extend similar services to other regions as well as the provision of treatment. The Chief Executive Director of the St. John of God Catholic Hospital, commonly known as Mabesene Hospital, Michael Kuroma, described the free checkups as a laudable initiative as beneficiaries cannot afford the cost to do these tests in medical facilities. He encouraged beneficiaries, especially those diagnosed with the disease, to take the advice given to them seriously, particularly to reduce the intake of sugar and salt. The Friends of Maternity Hospital, which for the past years have been working with the Mabesene Hospital to promote quality health in Potloko district, especially in MARAMPA Chiefdom, also commended the venture as it is meant to identify people with high blood pressure, diabetes and kidney disease. Some beneficiaries expressed appreciation to the KIC chronic kidney disease and the Mabesene Hospital for their timely intervention and appeal for more support for the Mabesene Hospital for providing cost-effective services to them.
BOLLORIE has contracted a Belgian-based company, Global Port, to train 35 Sierra Leoneans to operate brand new port equipment that were brought into the country in May this year. The over $20 million equipment will boost BOLLORIE's operations at the terminal of the Queen Elizabeth II Quay. Aruna Patrick KAMARA filed in this report.
Is to train operators on how to operate the ship-to-shore crane and rubber tire gantry cranes operation. According to the country manager of BOLLORIE Group, Captain Favjanko Kokan, the company wants to prepare the staff to operate the new equipment, including the $30 million mobile cranes. He said it is worthy to train their staff because Sierra Leoneans will be proud of having qualified modern crane operators who will be operating their expensive port equipment. Captain Kokan said before now the company used to handle 34 containers per hour, but said with the new equipment the Freetown Terminal Limited will handle 40 containers per hour. He said Sierra Leone is ready for investment and assured them of timely clearing of their containers from the port. The head of delegation Global Port Training, Ronnie Vosselmans, described his company as one of the biggest in the world, adding that they have professionals working in various fields in port operations. He noted that the company has provided service to over 60 countries across the globe. Mr. Ronnie said they selected the best candidate for the training based on their eligibilities to operate the port equipment. The Freetown Terminal Operations Manager Abubakar Sise said operating modern port equipment shows that the country is making tremendous progress in development. He said they are determined to transform the port into a standard transshipment port. In May this year, the company announced that they had received modern equipment that will be operated by Sierra Leoneans, which is seen as a promise delivered.
The Chiefdom supervisor in charge of the BUNUMBU Health Center, Sylvester Mahmoud Kuruma, has said that the lack of electricity supply at the health center is posing serious challenge to them in delivering pregnant women at night. He made the statements to the Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Professor Iya Bakima, who was on a tour at the Eastern Polytechnic campuses in the Eastern region. MARAMPA reports.
This situation, according to Mr. Kuruma, has left health workers with no option but to use Chinese battery lamps to attend to critical medical cases at night in the chiefdom and other surrounding villages. Sylvester Mahmoud Kuruma further stated that the center has no BEMOC facilities that will address complex medical complications before referral to secondary health facilities. The chiefdom supervisor in charge added that the building they are using is not conducive for a community health center, with no observation room, ambulance service that is all the way in Kailau, which is 56 miles away.
We are promised to have BEMOC here years by. We need that BEMOC, please. And we need, because here is a challenging terrain. So if we have our BEMOC with bath waiting room, our pregnant women living far away, we come there, wait for delivery until that time is come. And we also need the referral system to be strengthened. We always call on ambulance way from Kailan. And leaving Kailan to this particular destination is 56 miles. Now that I'm a Sierra Leonean and I was being born those days, you think of people bringing Chinese lights, and so we are still using the Chinese lights. Well, it is extremely strenuous, it is awkward, it is not even expected. Yes, because the light may go off and the government is not supplying maybe batteries and so.
The chiefdom supervisor in charge of the BUNUMBU Health Center, Sylvester Mahmoud Kuruma, appealed to the government and the Ministry of Health to help them with a standard structure, light and water facility, and a BEMOC center for a quality service delivery. The minister thanked the in-charge for their relentless efforts in ensuring that safe and quality delivery is done, despite the challenges faced by them. Some women in the chiefdom confirmed some of the challenges they are faced with as the center.
It will not get light day, will not get bed. Where would they go to hospital? Even medicine, but no day, but medicine no day.
My name is Kadi Mustafa. We don't have light in a hospital. We don't have bed. Even drugs, we don't have enough. And our children are getting pregnant at an early stage, and that is really worrisome for us.
We begin there, then they let small they take belly, and then they go the money. Not get water when at the community. We not get pump day.
My name is Nancy Fode. We don't have water well or even pipe-borne water at the clinic, even bed to sleep on after giving birth. The worst is our children are going to school, but they refuse to learn, but get pregnant at an early stage.
They begin they go school, they don't agree for land, but they no more than they give you. Begin but they no more than they do.
The thrust of the new direction is increasing access for all the population, particularly mothers, children, and the elderly, to quality health services in an equitable and efficient manner. SLBC News, MARAMPA reporting.
The Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallo, has said the new direction government will demonstrate its commitment to enhancing the welfare and protection of children through support for families in good parenting skills and livelihood. He was speaking at the launch of the Alternative Care and Child Welfare Policies organized by the Ministry of Social Welfare with all the child protection agencies on the theme, Our Children, Our Focus, Our Future. Thomas Neal has a story.
Both of these policies are guided by international standards, principles, and best practices, and both policies also place a premium on the importance of the family and the community. These policies are unique because of the emphasis they place on family and community. They recognize the strength of the Sierra Leonean society and the importance of family. The child welfare policy represents a significant shift in how child protection is approached in Sierra Leone. It establishes a long-term vision of a comprehensive system to support families and communities in promoting the protection and welfare of children in Sierra Leone. It was developed as a result of a series of intensive consultations with a range of stakeholders from different government sectors and agencies, as well as civil society, traditional and religious leadership. It highlights a number of local beliefs, values, and practices that complement and enhance the foundation of the child protection system. As such, the theme of the launching could not be more appropriate: our focus, our future. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Jule Jallo noted that the situation of children in the country remains a serious concern, particularly for children not living with their biological families. Thus, the placement of these vulnerable children into foster or interim care is largely uncoordinated and unregulated. A call on all to advocate and work collectively to protect and promote the rights of children who will take this country to another level in terms of sustainable development.
Events like these that marks significant moment to promote the rights and seek the welfare of our children and future generations through this kind of noteworthy policies are just some of the significant steps we have to take as a government and we have to push as a government. These documents have been put together to ensure that the best interests of children are maintained at all times. For the new direction government, we want to move further to standardize the provision of care and protection for all children and also to support families and communities to protect children from abuse.
The Minister of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Bendu Dasama, said this policy document is an important measure to ensure that government regulates the provision of care and protection for all its children. She said the lack of a national policy on alternative care has allowed for protection failure in kinship care, fostering, independent living, and children's homes where practices were ad hoc and unregulated, stressing the need for a policy and regulatory framework on alternative care very imperative. A representative of UNICEF, Rushman Mutaza, said UNICEF is honored to have supported the development of these two policies and are committed to supporting their implementation because these two policies will allow all children in Sierra Leone to have the opportunity to develop their potential. Both policies provide a clear vision of what Sierra Leone expects from within its government, from its development partners, civil society, and citizens in terms of ensuring the care and protection of children. For News Hour in Freetown, Thomas Neal reporting.
The 2018 presidential candidate of the main opposition All People's Congress APC party, Dr. SAMURA KAMARA, has described the 2018 governance transition team's report as full of factual errors and does not reflect the work of the APC government in the past 10 years. He made a statement in a press conference organized by the party to state its official position on the 2018 GTT report released by the SPP government last week. The APC party accused the governance transition team of reaching its own reference, selective justice, hasty conclusion without a competent court trial or judicial commission to refer to former government official as corrupt. Ahmed Sise reports.
This official response from the main opposition party came after several of its members, including former President Nkrumah, put out private messages explaining themselves on issues they are connected to in the GTT report. His response on the issue of government's 30% shares in Sierra Rutile that was sold by the past government as stated in the report, the 2018 presidential candidate of the APC, Dr. SAMURA KAMARA, said that there was never a time in Sierra Leone's history that the government got amount of shares in Rutile. He stated that what government had was an arrangement with the then Sierra Rutile company to suspend the PAYE tax because of some difficulties the company was facing at the time, which accumulated to 7% shares that was valued around $13 million United States dollars, which the company paid back in 2012.
Let me come to the 30%. On this 30%, in trying to revive its company, Rutile actually took the initiative and approached the European Union for a reviving role. The European Union agreed to provide the sum of 25 million euros to help revive Sierra Rutile. Mind you, there are a series of problems. that that causing problem. They had problems with their workers, they had problems with the mine and everything. But because we believe that by encouraging Rutile to rejuvenate itself, we are also sending the right message to other international investors that Sierra Leone was ready to receive international investors after the war. That's how we did that. Because of that, the EU agreed. The EU agreed to provide Rutile with 25 million euros. And it is normal that the government has contingent liability on such a loan. And that's how the Australian government came in, as it were, to guarantee this loan. Now, for us to secure the loan also, we said, can we transform these 25 million euros into shares in Sierra Rutile, owned by the government? Our estimation at the time was 30%. The EU came back to say, sorry, we are not going to allow you to transform this loan into equity into Sierra Rutile. These records are available. And therefore, because of that, there was no 30% shareholding.
Ambassador Usman Fode Yansane, Secretary General of the APC party, reaffirmed the party's position, saying that the APC rejects the GTT report in its entirety and that the party stands in solidarity with its chairman and leader, former President Ernest Bai Koroma, and all members named in the report. Ambassador Yansane accused the governance transition team of breaching its own terms reference and therefore defeating the essence of which it was constituted. He said the team was biased and had already convicted former government officials without trial by a competent court of law or a judicial commission. He advised the government and the general public to see their members stand accused of corruption by the GTT report as innocent people until proven guilty by a competent court of law.
The Radical Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights has provided a 40-feet container of medical items worth 500,000 United States dollars to the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. The gesture is expected to increase the availability of drugs and improve the health service delivery for vulnerable people in the country. The presentation was done at the medical stores at New England. Don Barry reports.
The provision of drugs and medical equipment by the Radical Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights is coming at a time when the health facilities lack essential drugs to provide quality health service delivery in the country. The gesture is expected to help the health sector provide basic health service delivery for vulnerable people in the country. It could be recalled that the provision of drugs by the Radical Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights is a show of their commitment they attaches to the health sector. The $500,000 worth of drugs donated include surgery kits, wound care supplies, gloves, injection needles, and syringe, to name but a few. The spokesperson of the Radicals Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights, Dictator Al-Hassan Kagbo, said that the Radical Club was born in 1972 with the aim to promote democracy, good governance, human rights, the fight against corruption, and provide service delivery to vulnerable people. He said that the provision of the drugs, including medical equipment, is part of their philosophy to give back to their society.
When we got the container, we decided that we would help the health sector, given the reality, especially post-Ebola reality in this country. We brought the container, we've been working with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. We've completed assortment and we've dealt with distribution.
He told the gathering about similar gesture held to the ministry, Ebola survivors and mudslide victims. Dictator Kabo said that the provision of the drugs was born out of a concept relating to faith and action initiatives in Dallas, Texas, to support Sierra Leone health sector. He told the people that the Radical Club, which is now transformed into a foundation, is non-political and believe in positive radicalism. Receiving the drugs and medical equipment, Minister of Health and Sanitation Dr. Alfawuri commended the Radical Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights for its immense support to the health sector. He said government would make sure communities and chiefdoms across the country have access to quality health service delivery.
It is sad that we have a country that we are supposed to call ourselves Athens of West Africa, that we are not a leading contender in healthcare provision as at now. But I would like full-fledged collaboration and contribution for us to work towards universal health coverage. Our people need our service. Our people must be addressed. We must be able to not talk about corners or cottage, but to talk about the community health center in the peripheral health unit.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Brahma Kagbo described the gesture by a Radical Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights as a show of support in helping the ministry to address its problems in the health sector. Acting Director of Medical Supplies Jack Lassana assured the Radical Foundation for Democracy and Human Rights that the provided medical items will benefit the people of Sierra Leone.
The Sierra Leone water company Salwako and the African Development Bank have ended a supervision trip to Bo, Kenema and Makeni to inspect the 3 towns' water supply and sanitation projects. Asmiuba went along.
The 3 towns water supply and sanitation project cost $61 million United States dollars, which is mainly funded by the African Development Bank. It commenced in 2012 and was successfully completed and handed over to Salwako in 2017 by the contractor China Henan International Corporation. In Makeni, the country manager of Sierra Leone Country Office of the African Development Bank, Penina Karikwi, informed the team that ADB is pleased with the project. She said with improved water system, the country will see the reduction of infant mortality. Principal Water and Sanitation Engineer of the African Development Bank, Rogers Lubunga, said though the infrastructure has been completed, Makeni is yet to be connected to the main system and called on Salwako to work more to connect more people. Mr. Lubunga advised the company to extend the distribution and protection of the infrastructure as the water source is almost 10 kilometers away from the township.
I'm sure Salwako has done many things. It has gone to great lengths to make sure that people connect. But we need to work even more to make sure people connect to the system, because that's the only way Salwako can survive, and that is the only way the objective of the project can be achieved, i.e. people getting good water, people getting safe water, and reducing on their bill for waterborne diseases.
Paramount Chief of Bombali, Sebura Chiefdom by Shebura Kasanga II, said the township is growing and the need for water is also increasing. The Mayor of Makeni City Council, Sunkari Kamara, informed the team that water continues to be a challenge for her city. Girls, she went on, continue to drop out of school as they are being impregnated during the search for water. Director General of Salwako, Samuel Bangura, told the team that the company's activities is not limited to the 3 cities of Bo, Kenema, and Makeni alone. Samuel Bangura says Salwako is working to become a noble utility institution that can match any international company.
We have come a very long way to have this level of amount of activities we are having from a very reputable world institution called the African Development Bank. We must be proud, Team Salwako, right, to say our project is classified as a successful project. The African Development Bank, of course, do have a long list of projects. But if ours is not classified as a successful one, we are humble to receive that accolade, but we want to say, as a country, Sierra Leone, we will continue to move in that direction. So that those who are giving us our work, our political leaders, will continue to stand tall, and eventually will redeem Sierra Leone from what it is now known for, that we are still at the bottom part of the world development agenda.
Deputy Minister of Water Resources, Dr. Hingasande, described the work by Salwako as laudable. The Deputy Minister said government considers water as a priority. As the team ends its tour, World Bank has given Salwako till the end of 2018 to end the project in order to access more finance. The 3 towns, water and sanitation, when fully operational, will be the beginning to panacea water shortage in the 3 districts.
Lonely Beach is one of the country's touristic areas, but it's losing its value as it's being used as a dump site of garbage. Residents have called for the intervention of government to prevent misuse of the Lonely Beach. Aminash Nyande Brima went there and filed in this report.
Beach is one of the finest beaches in the country, which attracts tourists and fishing activities. But the Lumley Beach is losing its value because of garbage disposal, stray dogs, and human feces. A fisherman, Aruna Cole, expressed dissatisfaction over the present unsightly condition of the Lumley Beach because of the dumping of garbage. He said that the beach is a tourist place that should be generating much needed revenue for government.
All the company there, the factory, they were responsible for making them rubber greens. We work most of the rubber greens there. We're responsible for making them rubber greens there.
I am calling on the government to hold companies responsible that are producing rubber drinks, rubber water and plastic bags and water as they form part of the garbage littered all over the beach.
Resident at the Lumley Beach community, Omar Jallo, told SLBC that before now, there were social activities going on at the beach and that they, as residents, were undertaking cleaning of the beach, but said that such social activities have ceased for a long period of time now and tourists have stopped visiting due to lack of access road and filthiness of the beach.
Access road at the beach. So if we get this access road, who believes say the beach not going to go too soon? Because the people when they clean Atlantic Beach and they reach staying at the golf club and tap it and they reach
Those cleaning the Aberdeen beach do not extend the exercise to the Lumley Beach, but only stop at the golf club. I blame the Falcon Company for blocking the access road with unfinished structure, an offense which has rendered the beach useless to the public and tourists.
Following an Amnesty International report launched on Tuesday, the 3rd July 2018 on human rights violations by the police in Sierra Leone from 2008 to 2018, the Sierra Leone police has commended Amnesty International for their effort. However, they describe some allegations against them as untrue. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, Alfred Soloko, however, said there is tremendous progress in the operations of the force. Rose Konima Stevens was there.
A force for good? A questioned Amnesty International report, which was launched on Tuesday, 3rd July 2018, asked, draws the attention of the police to what they have been publicizing, that they are now a force for good. The restriction on peaceful demonstrations and impunity after excessive use of force by the Sierra Leone police are some of the human rights concerns raised in the report. Even though they are in disagreement with allegations in the Amnesty International report, senior police officers at this gathering thanked the human rights campaigners for their efforts in putting the document together. They informed the gathering that police officers over the past 5 years have improved on their professionalism through local and international trainings on human rights, public order management, safety, security, and leadership for effective service delivery. Director Community Affairs AIG Kalisise said, training of the police ensured safe and secured elections environment in 2018 elections. Deputy Inspector General of Police, Dr. Al-Sheikh Kamara, informed the gathering that the Sierra Leone Police, as an institution, has been certified by the Integrated Training Service of the United Nations Department of Peacekeeping Operations to conduct UN pre-deployment trainings, which he noted is in recognition of the outstanding performance in previous peacekeeping missions. He said according to the Global Peace Index, Sierra Leone is currently the third most peaceful country in Africa, an achievement the SLP contributed to. The Minister and Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Alfred Suluku and Lahai Lawrence Lima, respectively, in their response to the Amnesty International report said they are still examining recommendations in the report, but assured all that the ministry is serious about international security and will ensure that policing is effective and efficient.
An appraiser normally it's a way for us to be able to assess ourselves, to see where we have gone right and where we have not gone right, and to see how best we can make amends for improvement. And I want to believe that the agency itself is an agency that is established by an act of parliament, and also their function, the legality established for their functionality is established in the Constitution of Sierra Leone, for which you can find in the fundamental provisions of the National Constitution, Section 5, and also Section 155 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone.
Looking at the report, we believe that some of the recommendations they are requesting for are legitimate, but some are not. So in entirety, we cannot conclude that we take in wholesale what was reported in the Amnesty International report. But what is also important moving forward, we are appealing to Amnesty International that in future, before coming out with reports, you have to verify with the authorities concerned about what you have seen as a concern, so that you will get exactly their own side of the story when reporting. During this my tenure in office, before the coming out of this report, I have seen tremendous progress in the behavior of the security sector.
The Sierra Leone police assured the public that as Sierra Leoneans themselves, they have family members and friends in the country and will not do anything to harm them, as every Sierra Leonean is their concern and it is their responsibility to protect life and property. SLBC News, Rose Konima Stevens.
News there on the Amnesty International report that was launched, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs was part of it, and the minister there is Edward Suluku. While you watching News R3 on the SLBC television, we still have some more stories. A mysterious fire broke out on Saturday and Sunday at the cotton tree, something that shocked many Sierra Leoneans. To many, it came as a surprise, as this is the first time such a thing has happened to the cotton tree. The keep of the cotton tree falls under the mandate of the Freetown City Council. Soriba Samura was there.
Of Freetown were taken aback by a mysterious fire which broke out at the cotton tree. The cotton tree is under the mandate of the Freetown City Council and is responsible for its upkeep. Suleiman Parker is the environmental officer at the Freetown City Council. He told SLBC that the council lost control of the cotton tree during the 2018 elections when posters of various candidates were displayed without permission.
Well, the Freetown City Council is in charge of the cotton tree, I must say. Well, honestly, before this time, we were having absolute control of that place. But the fact of the matter, we lost, that kind of authority during the electioneering process. You could remember the country was identified as a strategic area for the display of portraits of presidential candidates and during the electioneary process. And so during that time, everybody have access to that.
He said that the Freetown City Council will collaborate with relevant stakeholders in planning to regain control of the cotton tree. Chief Firefighter Nazir Kamandabonge blamed the fire incident on what he called activities of squatters who passed the night under the cotton tree. He added that the fire force has had to extinguish the fire 2 times before they were finally able to put it out. The chief firefighter confirmed to SLBC that The fire at the cotton tree was neither caused by electrical connections nor by any mysterious person. Brahma Danke is a resident of Freetown since 1979. He said he has never witnessed what happened at the cotton tree in his lifetime. He then called on the Freetown City Council to do more in securing what he described as an important monument in the country.
Well, from that news over there from the mysterious fire, the cotton tree, we'll move over to our business desk as Willie Minor Boko is all set to bring you business update.
Hello and welcome to Business Updates with me, Willie Minor Boko. From the business desk, Rokel Commercial Bank and Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, the two state-owned banks, will present fiscal risk to the budget because if they fail, government will have to intervene with solutions. Here's a report by Lucien Genda, read by Salma Taba.
Directorate of Research and Statistics Bank of Sierra Leone says large fiscal deficit leads to weak investment environment emanating from fiscal slippages. The Directorate said in essence their collective imbalances also created some very tight space for private sector credit and monitoring conditions and credit to the private sector. One of the primary responsibilities of the central bank is to curb inflationary pressure.
Sierra Leone has been struck in moving from large fiscal deficit, which increased borrowing, high inflation, crowding out of private sector, high interest rates, and low growth. Here's a report by Lucien Genda, read by Salma Taba.
According to findings on the recent economic trends released by the Sierra Leone Economic Outlook and published by the World Bank, it urges the central bank to do an independent quality review to assess the real status of those two banks. The report also urges government to take the desired path as the World Bank is just flagging the issue to resolve these problems, or the two banks may pose significant burden on the budget going forward. According to the World Bank, credit conditions are said to remain tight as bank credit growth slowed to 4.9% from 17.9%, reflecting the tighter policy stance of the central bank to a slowdown in economic activities. Sierra Leone Economic Outlook indicates that the financial sector remains stable but significant risk persists.
AfriCell has unveiled two new brand ambassadors in entertainment industry, Zainab Sharif and Alhaji Ba aka LAJ, for 1-year contract in a bid to improve the entertainment industry. More on this in our subsequent business news. And that's all coming to you from the business desk. I've been Willie Minor Boko. Thanks for watching.
Thanks there to our business desk, Willie Minor Boko, and thanks to you. Well, to end the news, the main points again. Government of the People's Republic of China is to construct West African Tropical Disease Research and Treatment Center at UNTRUE. CHIEFDOM supervisor of the BUNUMBU Health Center has said that lack of electricity is a serious challenge to deliver pregnant women at night. Vice President Dr. Julde Jallo has launched the Alternative Care and Child Welfare Policies. And All-Purpose Congress has said that the 2018 Governance Transition Team's report is full of factual errors. That's all in the news this afternoon. On behalf of News Editor Sheko Sumaila, I've been your host, Michael Abreu. Till then, have a lovely day. Goodbye.